Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Liz. Today I'm going to be talking about how I do my Aegyo makeup using only two main products for less than $7. And if you're wondering what Aegyo is, the Aegyo refers to the fatty part underneath your lower lash line that is used in a lot of Korean beauty terms, and when enhanced through makeup can help make your look more youthful and overall just help tie your overall makeup look together. I personally actually don't have a lot of natural fat under my eyes. Earlier in my makeup routines when I would try to do Aegyo makeup, it was really hard for me to find the right technique that would work well for my under eyes just because I didn't have much fat to work with. So I've actually come up with a really good routine that works well for me. So if you also are like me where you don't have a lot of fat underneath your under eyes, I would follow my routine and I can show you some tips and tricks for what works well for me. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. Okay, so as you can see, I have already done basically my whole makeup routine except for the Aegyo makeup. The first step that I will say is probably one of the most important, especially if you struggle with under eye creasing, is making sure that your skin is properly hydrated and that you've done your skincare before you started your makeup. For me, that means using a good moisturizer and a good primer. And so having a properly hydrated and moisturized skin is going to make sure that your makeup really sticks on well and that it doesn't cause any pilling or dryness or extra creasing that could occur. After you've done your base routine, the next step that's going to be really important is making sure that you set your under eyes. And for me, I use a loose powder, but you can also use a pressed powder, whatever works best for you to make sure that your under eye makeup is not going to budge when you put on your Aegyo makeup. The product I use for setting my under eyes is going to be the Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder in the shade 10. What I do is I tap my little puff here and I just tap it into the product and I just press under my eye here, and I really just make sure I get in all the nooks and crannies to make sure that there's no wetness or moisture from the concealer that I applied, and really just making sure that it's all set down and patted in place. The next thing I'm going to be talking about are the two main products I'll be using that cost less than $7 combined that I use for my Aegyo makeup currently. And Aegyo makeup can be different for everyone. Everyone has their own techniques for what work best for them. For me personally, as someone who doesn't have much of existing under eye fat, I find that these two products work really well for me, and I love how they're really affordable and you can find them at any drugstore. The first product that I'll be using for the shadowing effect is going to be this waxy type crayon from e.l.f. It is actually their instant lift brow pencil in the shade Taupe, and I really love this type of product because of its crayony / waxy texture. It's really great for making sure that your Aegyo doesn't smudge throughout the day. The next product I'm going to be talking about is for the highlighting effect, and so I use this product from Essence. It is their Gel Liner Stay and Play in the shade Silky Nude, and very similarly to the e.l.f. brow pencil, this gel eyeliner actually has a very similar kind of material texture, I guess. The gel liner does a really great job of not budging or not wearing off throughout the day, and so I just really like this specific product. And again, it's I think $3.99, so a really great product for this whole pencil, and you get to just like use a little pencil sharpener and you can just shave it down, and so this is gonna last me for a very long time. And so this next step is actually optional for me. I personally don't do this step, but it is something that you can do if you want to enhance your Aegyo makeup even more. These products that I'm going to mention are going to be aside from the two other ones that I had mentioned as the top two main products for this routine. Do feel free to customize with your own products that you like using. So depending on if you're going for a more youthful cutesy look versus a more bigger doe-eyed defined look, I would recommend choosing between a more pinky eyeshadow versus a more nude or like brown eyeshadow. The pinky nude eyeshadow is great for using as a base color for your Aegyo as an all-over color if you want a more youthful cutesy look. And if you choose a more like nudie brown color, that's going to be a great option if you want to just have an enlarged, even like bigger eye look, just to make your eyes look absolutely huge. I'm going to be taking this shade right here and just going right under my lash area here. The way that you'll be able to find where your Aegyo salt is to slightly squint your eyes and slightly smile as if you're like trying to smile and only with your eyes. For me, that kind of looks like this. And it looks really awkward, but that's going to be the best way for you to find your Aegyo salt. And as you can tell, I barely have any under eye fat, so it's a little bit more of a struggle. But with practice, you'll be able to find the area that works the best for you. For me, my under eye area is like right about here. You can see there's already a natural slight shadow here. And same thing for this side. This side, in my opinion, has even less of a shadow, but it's just barely there, and that's gonna act as your natural Aegyo salt guide for where you're gonna be putting all your products. And I'm going to be taking this brush right here. It's not a very dense brush, so it's really good for just ever so lightly laying down eyeshadow product. And I'm gonna squint my eyes again, like this, and I'm gonna go right along the entirety of my Aegyo salt. This is the overall base shade for your Aegyo salt, so it's okay if you go over the highlighted area because eventually we're gonna be putting the highlighter, the gel eyeliner, right on top of it. Just take your time and sweep across your eye. And just a reminder, like I said, that step is optional. I will just skip that step and go right into the shadow effect. To be honest, on a day-to-day basis, I don't even wear eyeshadow. Once you're done with that step, we're gonna go right into the shadow. And just a reminder, this is how I do it. You can do it however you'd like to do it. I know some people take this type of slanted brush here, and a lot of people use that as a way to draw on their Aegyo salt. However, I just like to use this straight up just product right onto my skin. I find that this product is really easy to build upon. With the slanted brush, a lot of times I would get too much product on the edge of my brush, and then it would just become this really harsh line right away. With this specific product, I don't have that problem. I can keep building on if I find that my shadow is not as dark as I would like it to be. One of the most important things that I realized when I was figuring out what works best for my Aegyo salt, because I have a lack of fat under my eye, is to start from the center of your eye. If you start from the corner, it's gonna create a lot more of a very unnatural fatty under eye look effect. If you want a more natural looking eye, I would really recommend to start from the center of your under eye and just work your way outward. And I can see right here is where that shadow is, and that's exactly where I'm going to be drawing. And I'm using the absolute lightest hand because you can build upon this product, and so using a really light hand is going to help you have more control over what your Aegyo salt looks like when you're finished. And as I go outward, I'm using an even lighter hand, meaning I'm not pressing hard. And the same thing goes for when you start getting nearer to your inner corner of your eye, because that's going to create a gradient effect that's going to feel like a more natural Aegyo salt. Okay, so once you're done drawing the under eye here and you've gotten it to a place where you like, a tip that I learned when you're blending out your Aegyo salt is to blend upward using upward strokes rather than downward strokes, because when you blend downward, it will make you look like you have dark circles. So you can take that little brush that we used earlier and just gently blend upwards for any harsh lines that you see. The next step is going to be using the gel liner from Essence. Like the e.l.f. brow product that we used for the shadow effect, this also has a similar consistency, and so it's also a product that you can gradually build up if you need more of a highlighting effect. And similar to the shadow effect, we're going to be squinting our eye again and starting from the center where the pupil is and drawing outward using a very light hand. And remember that the main key for this makeup look is to have a very gradual gradient effect, with the majority of the visibility of the product being in the middle of the eye where your pupil is. A lot of product here and then very minimal product on the edges. That's going to create the most natural looking Aegyo salt. And when I first started doing Aegyo salt makeup, I drew it like very thick in the corners and very thick on the edges, and it just did not have a very seamless look. That's going to be one of the biggest things I want to make sure that I get across to you guys, because that was one of the biggest mistakes I made when I first started trying out Aegyo Sol makeup. And I don't know if you can tell between these two eyes, but the eyes look so much bigger and I have very small eyes, so this is a really important step for me. So this is my two eyes completed with the shadow and highlighting effect, and it has such a big difference in my makeup look. Another big tip that I have for after you've finished your highlighting is just to double check both sides are as symmetrical as possible, because another thing that I found with Aegyo Sol makeup is if one eye looks puffier, like bigger than the other eye, it can be a little bit off-putting and again create a more unnatural look. The thicker that you draw on both Aegyo Sols, like as similar as you can, that's what's also going to help make your face look more symmetrical and also create a more convincing look. The next step is going to be using the same eyeshadow product that we used for the shadow, and we're going to go right along the lash line, and that's going to help separate your eye from the Aegyo Sol, making the Aegyo Sol have more of a 3D effect. So we're going to go right underneath your under eye lashes, and we're just going to draw right in the center of the eye, and then again just draw it outward, bringing the shade to the outer edge of your eye. This is going to help your Aegyo Sol really pop out and not kind of blend into your eye. Okay, so the final step, which is also optional, is to use a highlighter on top of the highlight that you put on your Aegyo Sol. For this step, I really like to use a small shimmery glitter type eyeshadow color. I have been using this cute little eyeshadow palette. It's called Dekalu. I think I got it off of Tik Tok shop, but I really like to use this shade right here. It's a champagne color. It's not exactly the brightest shimmer, but I really like the way that it looks on the Aegyo Sol. It's more natural. If I wanted a very like pop out 3D Aegyo Sol look, I would choose an even lighter eyeshadow color. I'm gonna go in with that little brush that I used before and just dip it right on the tip of the eyeshadow brush here and go right over top of where you drew the highlight. The next step is to just go back in with anything that you think needs more, a little bit more of the shadow effect, a little bit more glitter. For me, I like to end the routine with doing my lower lash mascara. So I'm gonna go put on my mascara and I'll be right back. Okay, that is the end of my Aegyo Sol makeup routine. I hope that you guys found some of my tips helpful or useful for your Aegyo Sol makeup routine. I hope to see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!